This is the way that most of the old marshmen years ago used to cut reed. When I came here in 1967, this is the way I had to learn with the old man. It's a basic thing, more or less, got out of the marsh. The stick is cut in the marsh, an old alder. You have a boil put on it, you see, and a little pricker. And this is the way that most of the reed cutters, I say, used to use. And you swing it, you see, and that's kind of a catcher. But a lovely way to cut reed, and very important really to keep it nice and sharp and have your side what I call hung properly. If you have it out there that's too full, you want it pulled in on the neck so you aren't pulling on your side too much. And I suppose this is the way all the reed cutters done it years ago. And as I say, in 67 when I come to How Hill, it took me a long time to actually learn to cut reed with the side. And as time has gone on, as you've seen, the modern machine has come along. But when people come to see reed cutting, they do love to see this way. And this way is nearly gone now. It's put on with tacks, look. Tacks, a ferrule, a wedge, and basic string, a very basic tool, but a very good tool for working on a marsh. And you can also do cutting edges of the dikes with them. I mean, scythe blades are getting very hard to come by now, but as I say, very important in my opinion. It cuts very clean, a bunch of reed as you can see, and keep it nice and sharp, so you get a lovely edge on it. And I get a lot of pleasure out of mine reed with a scythe, more so than I do with a cutter. But this goes back probably several hundred years, I would assume, when everyone could mow with a scythe. And as I say, people that do come to see reed cutting do love to see this way, because this is the way the old boys would have cut years ago. And I like the old ways. I think the old ways are good ways. They never destroyed anything on the marsh. They, you know, with a scythe, you've got to be very careful on a marsh with heavy machinery, because you make a lot of tracks about, you can destroy some of the areas of reed. As you can see, this is a beautiful bit of reed here, what called double whale reed, which means it stands for 2 years. Very important really, I think. Things like the swallowtail butterfly, the bitterns, all the wildlife. And as old man used to say, like hairs on a cat's back. Thicker the better when you're cutting with a scythe. If you cut that single whale, you'd have a job with a scythe because it wouldn't stand up. But all the old marsh tools really are beautifully made. All the old diking tools, but you may see at a later date. But I'm fascinated with this sort of thing, and I love mowing. And I suppose in a nice steady day, you'd mow 100 bunches of reed a day. And when I started at How Hill, reed was all sold by the fathom, 5 bunches to the fathom. When you stood 5 bunches of reed up, or 6, no matter how you tied them, they had to measure 6 foot around the bonds near the strings. Now everything is sold by the bunch. Used to be about 1/9 2 barb a bunch when I started, but they are. It's a very short season really, about mid-December till about the 1st or 2nd week in April. Then you have to stop cutting reed because the new coats come. But very hard job. Not many young people want to come into this thing, as you can see, plenty of water. But when you've got the sun out, it's lovely really. It's a good job if you enjoy it. You've got to enjoy what you're doing on. And I regret the day I have to leave here really, but it's fascinating to see a lovely crop of reed. And it's mainly used for thatching. I always swear by good Norfolk reed. Right, that's the way you would normally see a little loads of reed come out years ago when I first started quanting a little boatload of down the dyke. Bit of a little punt, you see, get down a narrow dyke, and your boat save your legs. I mean, if you've got a little dyke, you see, you carry your reed to your nearest point, and then you quantum down, and then you come to put onto a stack, pretty nice litter on the bottom so it keep nice and dry, stack them at the wind so they dry, and then the next process will be taking them down onto the stage and they'll be taken away by a thatcher. But I do like the old way. I think quanting the boat is very, very peaceful. That's the way that it's very, very quiet. And years ago the old boys they'd have done all them kind of things. They'd have had a little boat in the dyke and they'd have cut and carried to the nearest point. And I always say a boat is a pair of legs. You don't want to carry your reed on your back 300 or 400 yards. You want to carry it so you can just get them on the boat. And that boat will probably carry nearly 100, that little punt. And then come down, as I say, and they're stacked, and they should keep dry as a bun. And as I say, ready for the thatcher. This particular lot has got to be used at How Hill this coming summer, I hope, for a little shed they're going to build where all the marsh tools have got to be stored, so all the demonstrations can be inside for the children when they come to How Hill. So I'm very pleased that I'm going to cut the reed that's got to do this shed. The sedge is already cut. The sedge is the shaggy bit, the bit that goes on the top. That's cut through the summer. But always something to do on a marsh. Always, you know, even on a wet day, you do a bit of dyke and clean out the dikes so you can get your little boat down the dikes. Very enjoyable job when the weather's right. I mean, it's gorgeous today. The reed lights up, and it's a beautiful scene, really. Something that I never ever thought I'd do in my life, really. I like the outdoor life, but this is something that gives me a lot of pleasure, really. And I try to put my do my work in how people would have done it years ago. A lot of pride of work. They used to have a lot of patience, people years ago, I think, especially Marshman. Everything was neat and tidy, and that's how I kind of go along today, really. And as I say, that's all nice and dry. Once you get it off the marsh and stack it, that'll keep dry as a bun.